Breaking news! This important PSA is brought to you by Manscaped.com. After more than 18 months of research and development, I can confirm that the Manscaped engineering team has successfully created the greatest ball hair trimmer ever made. Released only moments ago, the new and improved Lawnmower 3.0 manscaping trimmer is now available. This third-generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to prevent manscaping accidents. Now you can go nick-free thanks to Manscaped's advanced skin-safe technology. If you already used the Lawnmower 2.0, here's the comparison between the two devices there you see on your screen. If you use the 2.0, it's an easy transition because it's the same replacement blade. Even better, the battery will last up to 90 minutes on a single charge, so you can take as long as you need to get the job done. It's also been upgraded to a 7,000 RPM motor with quiet stroke technology. One of the coolest new features is the LED light, which helps illuminate grooming areas for a closer, more precise shave. And don't forget the new charging stand powered by USB. Now you can show your mower off loud and proud. And right now you can be one of the first people to get your hands on this baby. Get 20% off plus free shipping when you use the code Solomonster at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping when you use the code Manscaped, or rather use the code Solomonster. I'm all over the place tonight. I'm all excited. Use the code Solomonster at manscaped.com and show your support for the Solomonster Sounds Off. Now to switch gears here. Before we move on, one of the greatest NBA players that ever lived passed away today. Along with 8 other people, including one of his own daughters. Former LA Laker Kobe Bryant died today in a helicopter crash, age 41. His 13-year-old daughter, Gianna, also died in the crash. No word on what caused it, but they were on their way to the sports academy that Kobe had opened a couple of years ago for a basketball practice. That's what they were on their way to. And Kobe would have been inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. Probably still will be. But, you know, the records he set as a player, the championships, and the accolades he racked up. It was just last night that LeBron James passed him for number 3 on the all-time scoring list. But, you know, all of these things, I'm rattling off all of these achievements and all of these accomplishments. But really, doesn't really matter. I mean, none of this matters when you see that as many as 9 people are gone now. And probably the biggest sports death in my lifetime. I know a lot of people have made comparisons to Thurman Munson, you know, the ex-Yankee player who died in a plane crash back in the 70s. Roberto Clemente, Roy Halladay, those were all plane crashes. But this one, oof, this is a bad one. Truly one of the greatest of all time at his craft. Gone far too soon. A legitimately shocking story. This is your WWE Royal Rumble 2020 review from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas. I am the Solomonster, and we have a whole bunch of super chats coming in. I want to make sure I don't miss anybody, so let me just say thank you to Tibbs316 for the $20 super chat. Holy shit. Thank you for that. Says he really enjoyed the show tonight. Chris Ludek, $10 super chat. Been a listener for 4 years now. And says, here's your WWE Network payment for February. Well, thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. And Mike Hamilton sent a $2 super chat. I'm so glad that Drew won. Riddle was buried, though. We're going to get to that Men's Royal Rumble match. I have a lot to say about that match. My overall thoughts on the Royal Rumble this year, I thought this was a very good show. You know, the Royal Rumble is carried by the Rumble matches. I thought the Women's Rumble, finish aside, which I was not a fan of, I thought that the Women's Rumble was very good overall, and I thought the Men's Rumble was excellent. You know, I know there were a lot of people as this was going along and Brock was tossing people out left and right. Oh boy, this sucks. I mean, people are coming in, they're lasting 10 seconds, but it was all building to that one critical moment where Drew McIntyre dumped out Brock Lesnar. And it would have been very easy for them to say, you know, we gave Drew his moment. He got to eliminate Lesnar, but we're going to give it to Roman Reigns. We're going to do what we did with Charlotte in the Women's Rumble, and we're going to do the tried and true thing, and we're just going to go with our pat hand, and we'll have Roman Reigns win. And they didn't do that. They didn't do that. Not only did they have McIntyre eliminate Lesnar, they followed through on that momentum, and they had him win the entire thing. I think that was the right choice for WWE. I mean, look, to a lot of us, it was kind of an obvious choice. For WWE, it was almost like a bold move. I give them credit for doing the right thing. So I thought both Rumble matches delivered. I thought the Universal title match was better than I expected it to be. Daniel Bryan proved tonight, even after all these years, and all those years away from the ring, that he is still among the very best in the world. I thought the Raw Women's title match was good. I thought the SmackDown Women's title match sucked. You can't win them all. You can't win them all. But on the whole, I thought this was a very strong show. I'm very curious to see what the Twitter poll results, what you guys thought. We'll flash those a little bit later on in the show. They claimed a new attendance record of 42,715. They were very excited to mention that they beat out Taylor Swift. They were so excited to mention that little nugget there. These super chats are coming in hot and heavy here. Chuck Lentz, thank you, brother. 1999 super chat. Lunatic Lentz, he's one of our great supporters here of the show. Powder with a $5 super chat. Edge was my favorite as a kid. I actually teared up, he said. You know what? I bet you weren't the only one. You were not the only one who probably shed a tear when Alter Bridge hit and Edge came walking out tonight. The infamous GS sent a $20 Russo on a pole super chat, bro. Don't forget, Russo on a pole, $10 or more. And you can see Baby Russo on your screen hanging from a pole, bro. Thank you, Infamous, for the super chat. He also marked out for Edge. Jake Winans, $9.99 super chat. I'm so glad they're actually pushing the young up-and-comer Charlotte, he says. Joe Olivo, $10 super chat. The Fiend's reign of terror will live on, he says. And Mark Q the Mark with $1.99. Thank you for the super chat. I may as well mention it now. If you want to donate, you can do so. I will make sure to shout you out, even if I don't get to you right away. You can do $10 or more for Russo on a pole, or really any amount is appreciated. You know, when I do the calls, all the call stuff at the very end, I pay for that. So basically, for all the calls that come in, and we usually fill up the lines, when my balance with the service that, because I don't just do Skype calls, I use a special service. And when my balance runs low, they automatically bill me $35 each time. So believe me, every super chat is very much appreciated. So let me just mention that. Brumakian Productions, thank you for the $10 super chat. And Sensitive Vermin 1234, wow, $30 super chat. Happy to see Edge and happy to listen live. Well, I'm happy to have you live. Everybody listening live right now. We got a lot of competition on YouTube. Everybody's going live on YouTube now. It's all good. It's enough of the pie to go around. But if you have chosen to join me tonight, I very much appreciate it. And hit that sub button if you have not already done so. Hey, take a look at this. I'm going to put this on your screen right now. What you are looking at is, look who popped up outside Minute Maid Park tonight. AEW's Sammy Guevara, one of the members of Chris Jericho's Inner Circle, channeling memories of DX riding a tank into WCW Monday Nitro over 20 years ago. Sammy's tank is a little bit smaller than the one that DX used. Sammy is a Texas native. I don't know if he's living in Houston or where he is living these days exactly, but I guess he decided to have a little fun and ride his mini tank outside of Minute Maid Park. Apparently, he was also reciting. There was video on Twitter of him reciting Scott Steiner's old Steiner Math promo. It's too bad that he didn't make it into the Royal Rumble match tonight. Garfield Burke, thank you for the $3.99 super chat. Scott Silbernagel with some super chatting of his own. Joshua Garrett, $10 super chat. A lot of love here for Edge I'm seeing in these comments. Jam3SJH3, I think that might be Deadpool. That might be James. It is Deadpool. James Herrera with the $20 super chat. James Hollins and Fabian Gomez. Thank you very much. Man, these things are coming in hot and heavy. I think I'm actually ahead of the the ones that are appearing on screen. Tom Phillips was calling the action for Raw with Jerry Lawler tonight. And according to WrestleVotes on Twitter, and WrestleVotes has nailed a whole bunch of things in the past, so I trust in WrestleVotes on this. This was not a one-night occurrence. Tom Phillips apparently is replacing Vic Joseph permanently on play-by-play for the Monday Night Raw brand going forward. I approve of the move. I think Tom's really good. I think he got the shaft before when they moved Cole and Corey Graves over to SmackDown on Fox. That might have been what Fox wanted, but Tom Phillips is really good, and he deserves better than being relegated to the NXT UK brand. All due respect to our UK fans. So if this is true, and Tom is back on Raw, or is on Raw for now for good, look, Vic Joseph is not a bad announcer, but Tom should have gotten the spot to begin with, so I'm okay with that move. Hour 1 of tonight's show, the kickoff, 2-hour kickoff we had Sheamus against Chad Gable. I refuse to call him by that other horrible name. They had pretty good chemistry together. Look, Sheamus beat the piss out of this guy, and they gave Gable the chance to make a comeback. He hit a moonsault on Sheamus at one point, got the ankle lock on. Sheamus kicked out of it. He got the ankle lock back on him. Sheamus was trying to kick his way out of it again, and Sheamus went for white noise. Gable countered into a crucifix pin for a near fall. Finally, the Brogue Kick. I mean, look, this was not going to end any other way. I think that's, we all knew how this was going to end. And the Brogue Kick got the 3 count. So we'll see if they match these guys up again. Maybe they'll have a rematch on TV. Hopefully it's not a one and done for Gable. I just can't see him winning over Sheamus. Even just one win. Maybe a fluky one. But, Sheamus just came back. They're obviously going to push him hard. I'm sure they have plans for him and nothing for Gable. So it's not going to really do Gable much good. But hopefully this is not the last time we see these two in the ring together. Oof Man Rules. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Lesnar still does not wear a cup. Well, if he hasn't learned after all these years, what can I say? He's just not going to learn. Mr. Cac Burlington, thank you for the $1.99 super chat. Says, I'm curious if I get a shout out for $1.99. Of course you did. You just did. You just did. You're supporting the show. Of course I'm going to shout you out. And Emmanuel Medhane, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Edge looked great. Hope he wrestles a match at WrestleMania. Hour 2 of the kickoff featured a United States Championship match. Andrade Cien Almas defending against Humberto Carrillo. Carrillo used a Hurricane Rana off the top rope for a near fall. He tried a standing Rana. Andrade caught him with a roll-up out of nowhere for the pinfall win. Action was fine. Finish kind of came out of nowhere. It was not as good as some of the matches they had before. But this is exactly what you would have expected out of a kickoff match. I don't really have anything else more than that to say about it. Pay-per-view opened with Roman Reigns against King Corbin in a Falls Count Anywhere and Please God Let It End match. Corbin took his sweet-ass time coming down to the ring, and Roman went after him. They started brawling outside the ring early on. They must have broken about half a dozen tables here in the first few minutes of this match. The first thing Corbin did, he chokeslammed Reigns through an announce table for a near fall. So they brawl into the crowd, and they brawl over to where the international announcers are located. And so they brawl over to the announce tables there, and Roman puts Corbin through them with Samoan drops, consecutive Samoan drops for near falls. So with these international announce tables destroyed, right, they're in tatters now, the fans at Minute Maid Park decide to start a USA chant. USA, USA, they chant. Very classy. Bobby Roode, Dolph Ziggler, they show up. To no one's surprise, they attack Roman. They're about to handcuff him to a railing. All of a sudden, the Usos, Jimmy and Jay with their new haircuts, they make the save. Roode and Ziggler beat them up. Jimmy Uso climbs up top on one of these technical scaffolding towers, does this huge dive off, wipes out all the heels. So now Reigns and Corbin, they brawl over to where there's this whole row of porta potties, which I thought was a great metaphor for this entire storyline. This whole feud was quite apropos that they brawled over by the shitters, which Michael Cole called a structure. Unbelievable. Look, I don't expect Michael Cole to call them shitters, but they're porta potties. You can call them porta potties. There's nothing wrong with that. No, he calls them a structure. Unbelievable. So Reigns puts Corbin inside one of these structures, and he tips it over, and that led to a very appropriate chant of "Holy shit!" Gets Corbin out of there, and they brawl on top of the dugout. I don't remember. Was it the home? I don't know if it was the home team dugout or the visiting team. It might have been the visiting team, but they brawl on top of one of the dugouts. He is smashing Roman in the back with a chair. Roman fights back, Superman punch, and Reigns finishes him off with a spear along the, what I thought was the first baseline. It is possible maybe it was the third baseline. I said on the podcast earlier today, this could be a fun match. I am no fan of this feud still going on, but this could be a fun match if they were to make use of the Falls Count Anywhere stipulation around the stadium, right? Falls Count Anywhere matches can be fun. If you brawl in the back, if you brawl sometimes out of the building. You know, these guys were in a baseball stadium. So you would hope in a situation like this they would take advantage of their surroundings. And they didn't brawl out of the building or anything, but I thought that they did a pretty good job with this thing. I actually thought this was fun. They made use of the stip. I thought that finishing sequence on top of the dugout was a really cool visual. And as much as I enjoyed this, I also thought this was a fine blow-off to this never-ending feud. There is absolutely no reason to continue to see Roman Reigns and Baron Corbin wrestling each other. And I hope that this was the last of it here tonight. This was a fine blow-off. Anything else is completely unnecessary. Magician Fire, thank you for the $10 super chat. More love for Edge. Man, everyone's marking out for Edge tonight. You know, what's funny is that we had Edge's wife, Beth Phoenix. She had a hell of a showing in the Women's Rumble. She even got busted open. She was in there for a long time. It's quite the power couple. Christian, $5 super chat. He says he's 18. So most of my young life was dedicated to loving the shit out of Edge. So when I told you that I lost my shit tonight, well, yeah, hey, you're not the only one. Scott Silbernagel, thank you for the sub. A lot of new subscribers coming in tonight. Sean Waters, same shit. Thank you for the $10 super chat. And Darth Ridiculous with the $1.99. Great Rumble. Love your show, he says. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. 30 man or 30 woman. 30 woman, there we go. Royal Rumble match. This felt like more of an NXT Rumble with some WWE names sprinkled in. Man, we got a lot of NXT talent in this Women's Rumble. Not that I'm complaining. I actually think that was a big part of why this Rumble was so good. I thought overall, finish aside, which I'll get to, I thought this was a very good Women's Rumble. Alexa Bliss was number 1. Bianca Belair from NXT was number 2. We had Molly Holly. Mighty Molly was number 3. Looking good. I like Molly. Molly seems like a nice girl. She's still a beautiful woman. I don't know how old she is now, but she looked like a different haircut, but she looked like the Molly of old. She was wearing her Mighty Molly costume, came out to Hurricanes music. She did a dive off the top rope at one point, wiped out Bliss and Belair. We had Nikki Cross at number 4. Lana was out next at number 5. And cut a promo on the crowd on her way to the ring. And I gotta flash this again. This was the open. Hold on, you're gonna hear music here. Let me mute the music. I just gotta show this one more time. Hold on a second here. Hold on a second. Let me mute this. There we go. All right, there we go. I just wanted to show this again because this is just too good not to show again. So we got a shot here of the best sign all night. Lana cheats more than the Astros. Now that's hard to believe, because the Astros, they're a bunch of fucking cheaters. But all the Houston fans are going to get pissed off at me now. You should have seen some of the comments I got when I was ragging on the Astros about a week ago. Boy, did they not like that. But there it is. There it is right there. Lana cheats more than the Astros. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. They're not going to like that. I'm just fucking with you. Do you think these people would know by now? I'm just having some fun. BWT56, thank you for the $1.99 super chat, man. This may be our best super chat night to date. Let's set a new record tonight. That'd be nice. That'll pay for some phone calls. Professor Grind, $5 super chat. Missed the heat spot for Corbin to go through the dugout, bang on the trash can, and put Roman through the table the Astros used to cheat with. That is priceless. That is so true. They should have done that. They should have done some kind of trash can banging spot. It would have gotten him tremendous heat there in Houston. I love it. I love it. Ty Rutherford, thank you for the $10 super chat. Says, Asuka should have won that match. Much love to Edge, and Brock was awesome. Great sell of the Claymore kick. And 91 with the $2 super chat. Rest easy, Black Mamba. Yes, indeed. So, number 4 was Nikki Cross. I mentioned that. Lana was out next. And then Mercedes Martinez at number 6. What a moment for her after 20 years in the business to walk out in front of 40,000 people. I'm sure she's wrestled in front of crowds of 40 people. And here she is coming out in front of 40K. So that must have been a good moment for her. Liv Morgan was number 7. Lana eliminated Liv. So Liv pulled Lana off the apron to eliminate her. So they eliminated each other. Good. You can get them both out of there. Mandy Rose was number 8. Now, earlier in the night, Sonya Deville had said that if it came down to her and Mandy, she would eliminate herself. Because that's how important her relationship is with Mandy. That is how much she values their friendship. She would be willing to eliminate herself in order to let Mandy win the Royal Rumble match. So, Candice LeRae, just remember that. So, Candice LeRae from NXT, she was number 9. And we had Bianca eliminating Mighty Molly. Alexa dumps Mandy Rose out of the ring. And you think, man, that's kind of anticlimactic. Why the hell would they get rid of Mandy Rose like that? Mandy lands on Otis. Now, I didn't see how, did Otis run down the aisle? I must have missed it. I just assumed he was under the ring. And he rolled out from underneath the ring. He was laying there on the ground. So when Mandy gets dumped out, she lands right on top of Otis. And that protects her feet from touching the floor. I thought this spot was tremendous. The people went nuts for this. So Mandy ended up making it back inside the ring safely. I thought that was a tremendous spot. I loved that. That was great. Sonya Deville is out at number 10. Mandy and Sonya, they eliminate Mercedes. Kairi Sane is out at number 11. She hits a gigantic, insane elbow on Candice just as Mia Yim is making her way out at number 12. Bianca uses Alexa as a weapon. She picked up Alexa Bliss, tiny little Alexa Bliss, and she used her as a weapon to eliminate her own partner, Nikki Cross, who was out on the apron. And she also eliminated Mandy and Sonya, did Bianca. Mandy was knocked off the apron into the waiting arms of Otis, but then Sonya got dumped out, knocked Mandy and Otis down. They all fall to the ground, so they were both gone. Dana Brooke, number 13, Batista's favorite wrestler. Bianca eliminates Candice LeRae. That was her 5th elimination up to this point. We had... Now, remember, before I go on here, I have to mention this. Remember that prediction I made on the prediction show a few weeks ago? I have my annual prediction sound off every January. That was a few weeks ago. And one of my predictions for 2020 was that Bianca Belair will hold women's gold this year, but not in NXT. I don't see her beating Rhea Ripley next month. I don't see her ever winning the NXT Women's Championship. My prediction was that she would be a champion on Raw or on Smackdown before the year is over. And based on her performance and how they booked her here, I'm liking that prediction right about now. Tamina, Tamina was number... I'm sure Tamina's a lovely girl, but yes, I don't care much for her. She was number 14. Thankfully, Bianca dumped her quickly for her 6th elimination, making her the biggest babyface of the night to me. Dakota Kai was out, number 15. We had Chelsea Green, number 16, with her new agent, Robert Stone, the former Robbie E. from Impact. She quickly dumps Dakota Kai. Then Chelsea gets dumped by Alexa. So it's almost like, why even bother flying some of these women in? Like, what was the point of this? So she can just make an appearance? It's not like they're going to use her on the main roster. I mean, I guess it was kind of a moment for her, I guess. It's kind of a waste. So Bianca eliminates Dana Brooke. That was her 7th elimination. And we're back down to the first 2. We're down to Alexa Bliss and Bianca Belair. So they end up on the apron. Alexa's got Bianca's long braided hair. She yanks Bliss into the ring post and Alexa falls to the floor. So that's her 8th elimination. And now Bianca Belair is the last woman standing. That is until Charlotte Flair enters at number 17. Well, it was nice while it lasted. That's exactly what I thought when I saw this. I said it's nice while it lasted. Number 18 was Naomi, her first appearance in months. Nice reaction for her. Beth Phoenix was number 19. Toni Storm from NXT UK was number 20. Charlotte knocks Bianca off the ropes to the floor. 8 eliminations in 33 minutes and 20 seconds for Bianca Belair. So she got the Diesel spot this year. It's kind of funny I think of it that way. Like, I'm sure in the years since then, right, we've had other people who have come along and they've been given the Diesel treatment. Roman Reigns, Kane. But I still go back to that 94 Royal Rumble. That was the first time I can remember somebody being given the Diesel treatment, was Diesel himself. And that was the treatment that Bianca got here. Hopefully a sign of things to come for her. Kelly was number 21. She gave Toni Storm a stink face in the corner. And just give me a moment here. I need a moment. Okay. I think I'm good now. That was a fun spot. Sarah Logan was number 22. And Solomonster After Dark. Sarah Logan was number 22. And out she goes at the hands of Charlotte. Kelly tries to dump Charlotte. She doesn't take very kindly to that, so she knocks Kelly off the apron. We had Natalya at number 23. Xia Li of NXT out at number 24. Zelina Vega out at number 25. Somewhere in here, and I did not see what happened. I did not see when it happened. But somewhere in here, Beth Phoenix got busted open because her hair was covered in blood on one side of her head. And it sort of traveled. It got worse as the Rumble went on. But she got busted open. I didn't see where she got cut. It was either the back of her head or maybe her ear. I don't know. Maybe somebody in the chat can shed some light on that for me. Out next was number 26. Number 26, if you're part of our private group on Facebook, if you're part of the Royal Rumble pool this year, you may know that number 26 was my number. In this year's Royal Rumble pool, I was all excited to see who I got this year. Come on, number 26. And then out comes Shotzi Blackheart from NXT. Well, shit. So much for that. Naomi doing her best Kofi Kingston impression, or maybe, I guess John Morrison would be a more accurate comparison. She gets knocked out of the ring, clings to the barricade, doing the whole Spider-Man thing like Morrison did back in, what year would that have been? 2010? 2011? I think Morrison did the similar spot. Doesn't touch the floor. She manages to navigate her way over onto the announce desk. And now she's kind of on this island. She's stranded. She's got to figure out a way to get into the ring. So she's on the announce desk. Carmella's out at number 27. Tegan Nox from NXT. She's out at number 28. And then comes number 29. Santina Marella to do a comedy spot with Beth Phoenix and Natalya. So I guess we know why they didn't get Beth out of there sooner, given she was bleeding out. They had to get to this spot, and I guess whatever that final sequence was. You know, Santina Marella did an interview not too long ago. Pretty good interview, too. I would suggest everybody go check out Chris Van Vliet's channel. He does some of the best interviews out there. I love the work that he does, and I think it's his interviews are great. So he has one up with Santino, which I thought was really good. And in the interview, he said, "You will never again see me portraying Santino Marella, that comedy character, on WWE television. Those days are over. He's got his Battle Arts Academy. He's doing all these different things now." I suppose he never said that we wouldn't see Santina again. We may not see Santino, but we saw Santina. Now, Santino I liked. Santina I thought was shit. I thought Santina was shit back then, and I think Santina is shit today. This was a waste of a Royal Rumble spot. That's my thoughts on Santina. Shayna Baszler, she gets the number 30 spot. So no Ronda Rousey in the Royal Rumble this year. And my backup prediction was if Ronda does not return, then Shayna Baszler. Look, I mean, Shayna Baszler ended Survivor Series with a win. She beat Bayley, right? Was it Bayley and Becky? I mean, she was the one standing tall at the end of Survivor Series. And she just dropped her championship to Rhea Ripley about a month ago, and all signs were pointing to the fact that she's probably headed up to Raw or headed to Smackdown. And what a way to introduce her than to give her a dominant win in the Women's Royal Rumble match and have her go on to challenge Becky Lynch for the championship at WrestleMania. You could tell the story about her being one of Ronda's best friends. You know, I want the title for myself, but I'm also avenging my friend, and, you know, what you did to her last year at WrestleMania. There's a story there. There's a story there that they can tell. And they did not tell that story. Now, first of all, when she comes out at number 30, I'm thinking to myself, what the hell happened to Sasha Banks? You know, maybe that ankle injury on TV isn't such a worked injury after all. She declared for the match. She's one of the biggest stars they have on that SmackDown brand. She has not wrestled, though, on TV in a few weeks. So I'm going to assume that she's got to be injured. I don't know what other explanation, frankly, there would be for it. So she must have, I don't know how serious it is, but it was serious enough, obviously, to keep her out of the Royal Rumble match tonight. So that sucks. And hopefully it is nothing too serious. John Krauser, thank you, brother, for the $4.99 super chat. Says, if I wasn't playing a Rumble pool game with my friends, the show would have put me to sleep. Really? Wow. All right. Well, I actually thought it was a pretty good show overall. David Mills, $2 super chat. Edge and Beth Phoenix are ageless wonders, he says. Well, I mean, Edge is, you know, you could see the bags under his eyes, but the guy's shredded. He's in pretty good shape. I don't know how old he is now. He's got to be closing in on 50. He's in pretty good shape. He's in very good shape. Scott Silbernagel, thank you for the super chat. Nico, $4.99 super chat. Would you have marked out for Punk if he was number 30? By the way, love the show. You know what? Honestly, I don't think I would have. I'm kind of over the whole Punk thing. So, I mean, it would have been a great reaction. I guess it would have been a cool moment. Would I have marked out for Punk? Yeah. No, not really. I'm kind of over it. You know, it's been 6 years, 7 years. I'd say just leave it alone. I mean, Edge, I guess, was out for longer than Punk's been out for, but... And I did mark out for Edge tonight. I'll talk more about that later. Ben Boy AEW, thank you. Mehdi Brahim, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. I'm just trying to play catch-up here, guys. We'll do this throughout the night. Brian Pacera, thank you for the $15 super chat. I'll get to the rest of these here in a second. Let's finish this Women's Rumble out here. Naomi. How is Naomi going to get back into the ring? She takes part of the announce table, and she drapes it across onto the steel steps. She's going to walk across. She built a bridge, and she's going to walk across this thing back into the ring. I didn't think it was going to support her weight. I'm not implying that she's fat. I'm just saying I didn't think that part of the table would be enough to support the weight of an adult human, but she walked across and made it back into the ring. Shayna Baszler, though, turns around and eliminates her. It's kind of like Kofi. All that effort in the end for nothing. All of that effort for nothing. So out goes Naomi. And we have Charlotte, Beth Phoenix, Natalya, and Shayna Baszler. These are the final four. Beth and Natalya, they hit Baszler with the heart attack, which was pretty cool. And then Beth turns on Natalya, dumps her out of the ring. So she goes after Charlotte. Baszler catches Beth from behind, eliminates her. So it's down to Shayna Baszler and Charlotte Flair. I thought if you're going to come down to the final two, this is perfect. Because it could go either way. Nobody would be shocked to see Charlotte win. But there are a lot of people like myself who figured Shayna's going to get the win here. So it's a less predictable finish with these two there at the end. Unfortunately, they went with the wrong choice. And Baszler is trying to get Flair out of the ring, and Charlotte body scissors her and dumps her out of the ring, and Charlotte Flair wins the Women's Royal Rumble match after being the runner-up in 2019. So if you had number 17 in the Royal Rumble pool, congratulations, you win your pool. They had a chance to go with somebody new, and they opted to go with Charlotte instead. How the hell do you have Shayna Baszler enter at number 30 and not have her win that match? I hated that finish. I hated that finish. But I thought the rest of the Rumble was very good, except for that dumb Santina spot. I mean, I really did not like the Santina shit. I didn't think it was funny 10 years ago when they did it, or 11 years ago, whatever it was, and I don't think it's funny now. And I was a big fan of a lot of Santino's comedy. The Santina shit, though, had no place. It just felt so out of place. Probably felt out of place 10 years ago, too, but it was a waste of a spot. So Charlie Caruso, Chuck, gets into the ring and she's interviewing Charlotte. Charlotte did not announce which champion she would face at WrestleMania. So the winners of the Rumble this year get to choose the champion they want to face at WrestleMania. It's not specific to whatever brand that you're attached to. And I just look at these potential match choices here. And Charlotte against Becky, it's played out. Charlotte against Becky does nothing for me. Charlotte against Bayley does even less. I still can't believe they had Shayna Baszler enter at number 30, and she still lost. I know number 30 is not always a winning spot. But to have her, of all people, enter that late in the match and still lose is ridiculous to me. The way that this company gets in their own way sometimes is just absolutely infuriating. But all can be forgiven if Shayna Baszler were to show up tomorrow night on Raw to confront Charlotte. And if they have some kind of story in mind that they're going to build around, all can be forgiven in 24 hours. Plus, there's also, don't forget, there's also the Women's Elimination Chamber. But as a knee-jerk reaction, and I admit right now that's what this is, I can say that I don't like this finish. Bayley against Lacey Evans for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Speaking of things I didn't like, this was the worst thing on the entire show. I thought this match sucked. I did not like this match at all. Bayley controlled pretty much of the match until Lacey made a comeback, hit a springboard into a moonsault. Off the top rope, Bayley got the knees up and pinned her to retain the championship. Very paint-by-numbers stuff. Just nothing exciting at all. Just not much to it. Not much to it at all. And I'm okay with them keeping the title on Bayley, provided that we get to Sasha and Bayley, because I still think that's the most interesting match they could do right now on SmackDown. What other match do they do? Who else is in the SmackDown Women's division right now? And I don't have the roster in front of me. Off the top of my head, we have Sasha, we have Lacey, Nikki, Alexa, Bayley, Carmella. Who else is there? Who am I missing? Very limited options, unless they suddenly introduce somebody new on TV this week. And, they don't usually introduce new people this close to WrestleMania. So if that's the match they're going to build to, split Sasha and Bayley again and have Sasha go for the championship, okay. I'd rather it be that than Lacey Evans. Lacey isn't quite there yet. But this match was no good. Gabriel Borges, thank you for the $2 super chat. Edge is back, he says. Yes, Edge is back. Well, at least for one night, we don't know if Edge is back. We don't know that Edge is even going to have a match at WrestleMania. Nothing is guaranteed. John Falchetta, $2 super chat. Shayna should have won. Make 2 stars with her and Drew. I agree. Matt Moretz, $20 super chat. Keep up the great work. Thank you for the $20, man. I really appreciate that. Sean Waters, $2 super chat. Morrison needed WWE more than WWE needed Morrison. David Adams, $5 super chat. What do you think of the red light not being on during the Fiend match? I was a big fan of that. Of course. Fred the Shed says it's 5 a.m. here in the UK and I got to go to bed. Have a great rest of the show. We'll listen back tomorrow. Well, it'll be here waiting for you. Thank you, Fred. Rico Stevens, $3.99 super chat. Edge looks like he does a DDPY. Maybe he does. I'll tell you what, though. Edge, look, I don't know if he does DDPY or not. This is more than DDPY. Okay, this guy's been he's been doing a lot more than yoga. He's all the way he's all cut up and stuff. I know he's on that Vikings TV show. He's got to keep himself in good shape. Believe me, he's been doing more than DDPY if he's even doing that. And we have what was it? Oh, I don't even know how to pronounce that. Zaphide, is that correct? $5 super chat, thank you. Says, Santino was smart. He dressed as a woman and joined the Women's Rumble to avoid Brock Lesnar. It's not a bad idea. Miguel Maldonado, $2 super chat. Chase Wood with the $10. Do you think we could see Charlotte challenge Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania to swerve everybody? That would be a swerve I would fear for Rhea Ripley if they did. First of all, it would make no sense. They'd have to do something on television to explain why would Charlotte go after the NXT. Well, I guess it's not the NXT Women's Championship anymore. Now it's just the NXT Championship. Why would Charlotte choose to go after that title? Rhea would have to start trash-talking her on TV or show up on Raw tomorrow night or something. You'd have to really try hard, I think, to explain that one. It'd be an interesting match. I have no faith whatsoever they would go with Rhea beating Charlotte. I don't see what good that does Rhea. I guess it would get her a WrestleMania match, but I'd be a little worried about that. I would keep Rhea Ripley far away from Charlotte Flair at the moment. Jacob Donnelly, thank you for the $5 super chat. We'll get to more of these here in a little bit. We had Daniel Bryan and The Fiend. Bray Wyatt in a strap match for the Universal Championship. Pinfalls and submissions only. 6 years after these two had what is still the best singles match, I maintain, of Bray Wyatt's career. This here was not the best match of his career, but it was the best Fiend match that I have seen to date. And the one that had the crowd the most invested in it. Of all the Fiend matches, and we haven't seen that many of them. But of the Fiend matches that we have seen, this was the one where the crowd was into it the most. They were hanging on every near fall. And you know why? Because they love Daniel Bryan. Because they love Daniel Bryan. And they thought he had a real shot here at winning the championship. So, we had no red light for this match, which was the right move. Thank God. No red light. Maybe they just realized they're in a giant baseball stadium. And it'd be hard. I mean, look, they could have done it. You know, they turned the lights out for his entrance, and it was pretty dark. So if they wanted to, they could have turned the lights out, and they could have done the red light. I hope they have come to the realization that the red light is just fucking horrendous. And it ruins his matches. So, hopefully this was the start of a new trend. So we have The Fiend. He is whipping the crap out of Daniel Bryan, just mercilessly for the first 5 minutes of this match. He had welts all over his body, front and back. He's just beating the tar out of him with this strap. And then Bryan out of nowhere connects with a running knee for a close near fall. So later on, Bryan goes for the knee again. And this was the spot of the match. He goes for the running knee. And Bray snatches him out of midair and just drops him with Sister Abigail. This looked awesome. Cool spot. Only a near fall. Bryan kicked out. But I thought that was great. So Bryan's in the ropes, and Bray gets the mandible claw. And he takes Bryan down to the mat. He's got the claw locked down. Bryan somehow manages to counter it into the lapel lock. He wraps the leather strap around the Fiend's face. He's yanking back like it's Justin Roberts' tie. He's yanking back, and the Fiend manages to get out of it. He fights out of the lapel lock. Goes for Sister Abigail again. Bryan blocks it, hits a running knee. Long 2 count. Bryan grabs the strap. He's whipping Bray. And Bray, again, he no-sells it, locks in the mandible claw. He slams Bryan down with the claw and gets the 3 count. I thought this was the best Fiend match to date. And that is more of a testament to how great Daniel Bryan is than anything else. You know, there may be others. There are others. Right now, at this moment, technically better than Daniel Bryan is. But he's got to be in the conversation as one of the very best. I just don't think you're being objectively fair if you say otherwise. Even after all these years, and he's older now, and the time away and everything, Daniel Bryan is still one of the very best in the entire world. And this match was another example of it. Because I have not felt this way about any other Fiend match so far. One person tweeted me during the show when this match was over. He tweeted me and he suggested that, hey, you know, maybe Bryan can challenge Nakamura for the Intercontinental title as a program for WrestleMania. If we assume that Nakamura will not lose the championship to Braun Strowman beforehand, and we know how allergic Braun is to winning championships, so I'm pretty confident that he will not be winning the IC title. What do I think of a Bryan Nakamura program? I'd be down for that. You know, they have kept the two of them apart so far. Aside from some dark matches, you know, early on when Nakamura first came in, We have not seen the two of them have a match on television that I can remember. They certainly have not had a program. Nakamura was the one guy many years ago that Bryan said he wanted badly, more than anybody else, to work a match with. Now, this was many years ago, but they can still do that program. And they can do the program for the IC title. It would be fresh. And who knows, maybe Bryan can bring Nakamura to the best match he's had in years. So I say, why not? Because there's no other obvious program for Daniel Bryan heading into WrestleMania. We got a commercial for Super Showdown. We already had heard about this, but we now know that Super Showdown is confirmed for February 27th in Riyadh. So it's time for Sweet Saudi Money 5, Staying Alive. I'm sure the talent is super excited to get back on a plane to go back to Saudi Arabia. So, counting the pre-show, we were now 4.5 hours into this pay-per-view, including the kickoff, when I forgot who it was, maybe Tom Phillips or Michael Cole. One of the announcers said, "And we're far from over." I wanted to bang my head against the wall. I like this show, but these shows are just unnecessarily long. Becky Lynch against Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship. And look, Wrestle Kingdom is long too. Hell, Wrestle Kingdom was 2 days this year. Wrestle Kingdom doesn't bother me as much, though. It's funny how that works. I get wrapped up in Wrestle Kingdom. It kind of passes by pretty quickly, actually. So Becky Lynch against Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship. I thought this was a good match. It was much better than the SmackDown Women's title match. It seemed like the crowd was getting very tired by this point. They were not reacting the way that you would have expected them to. But we had Becky avoiding a hip attack early from Asuka. Goes for the disarmer. Tit for tat, back and forth. There was one spot where Becky, they're on the apron, and she gives Asuka this... it's almost like she was going for a power bomb or something, but she let her go. She dropped her, face and chest first. And Asuka had a long way to fall. And she splatted, face first down on the floor. Her knees hit the floor. That looked like it sucked. That looked like it sucked. That looked like it was no fun for her to take that move. And so Becky, the story they told here is she's the underdog. No matter what she did, she could not put Asuka down. She couldn't beat her last year, and she was the underdog. She was the champion, but she was the underdog coming into this match. They did a spot where they were standing on the middle ropes, and I got scared because I thought that Becky was trying for a Spanish fly. Now, Becky Lynch has had some good matches, and Becky Lynch has had some stinkers. I don't know if saying that she has 2 left feet, that's probably not the right way to phrase it, but Becky can be very tentative when she tries certain moves. I don't think that her trying a move like the Spanish fly would end well, either for her or her opponent. So it kind of looked to me like maybe she was going to try for it, and I sort of held my breath like, uh-oh, please don't do it. But instead, she did a rock bottom. She did a Uranage off the ropes to Asuka for a near fall. This all built to the end where Asuka was going to spit the green mist in Becky's face, and Becky avoided it. And instead, the green mist ended up on Asuka's face. Becky got her in the disarmer, and she tapped out Asuka. I hate seeing Asuka tap out. I knew this was going to be the finish. This was, you could see this coming from a mile away. Becky was going to fight back a year later, and she was going to get her win back. And that's fine. I don't really have a problem with that. I just hate seeing Asuka tap. I feel like Asuka is someone who should not be tapping out. She still has that kind of killer instinct about her. You can beat her. You can pin her. Maybe you put her in a submission and she passes out or something. But just the visual of her submitting and tapping out. It's not the first time we've seen it. Look, her first WrestleMania. Remember, it was Charlotte who ended her undefeated streak, going all the way back to her NXT days. And how did it happen? She tapped out. She tapped out to the figure 8, and I hated that then. And even after all these years, it still bothers me. It bugs me when I see Asuka tapping out. But this was the predictable outcome. Good match. Not a lot of heat, but Becky Lynch will probably make it 1 year and go to WrestleMania as the Raw Women's Champion. As Le Champion, you might say. Anthony Medrin, thank you for the $10 super chat. Says Vinnie Mac is a madman and said that Drew would be the future. Only 13 years 13 years later. Says this man has some serious future insight. I guess he does, right? When did he first call Drew the chosen one? What year was that? 2007 probably? Something like that. It's a long time ago. Chaotic Dragon. Thank you, brother. $5 super chat. Says you could change a third of those women and it would have been a better match. Shayna should have won that match. And I agree. I think it would have been better with her winning. James Hollins, $10 super chat. Is there any redemption for the Bayley character? I don't know, but I still feel like she's heading for a split and something with Sasha. At least I hope. I guess we'll find out how serious her injury is. Harley, not Harley Race. Harley Litzel, $2 super chat. Kevin Velasquez, thank you for the super chat as well. Gavin Amy. Sean Blanford, $5 super chat. They just keep rolling in here. Laxus Dryer, love the stream. I really enjoyed the men's Rumble. I can't wait to talk about it. I really did like that Rumble match. In fact, why wait? Let's get to it right now. And you see the phone number on your screen. We'll get to that later, so just be aware of that. 30-man Royal Rumble match. I said this earlier on the podcast. Royal Rumble is one of my favorite events all year. And they've had some years where they really have fucked up the Royal Rumble. There have been some horrible Rumbles. There have been some really good Rumbles. Not as good as 1992, but that's a hard one to top. But I was hopeful. I was optimistic coming in. I said, just give me an entertaining Rumble. I don't ask for much. Just give me an entertaining Royal Rumble match, and I will be happy. And you know what they did? They gave me an entertaining Royal Rumble match. I thought this Rumble was excellent. Booker T was introduced as a guest commentator for the match. Houston's own Booker T, fresh off the Chris Jericho cruise. We were told before the match that Bob Lashley and Rusev were out of the Rumble match. They had gotten to Minute Maid Park. Backstage, they got into a fight. And I guess they beat each other up, and they were not medically cleared to compete. And so that opened up 2 spots here in the Rumble match. Brock Lesnar, we know, entered at number 1. The WWE Champion, with his title not on the line, entered the Royal Rumble match. I guess to prove that nobody can beat him. To prove how dominant and how shitty the rest of the roster is. I guess that was the story. They didn't actually explain it that way. ProWrestlingSheet.com reported that there was a very real confrontation. Not a fight, but a confrontation. A tense confrontation. Backstage, before the show, it's not a work, between Brock Lesnar and Matt Riddle when they passed each other in the hallway. Matt Riddle is not making a lot of friends. Something very similar happened with him and with Goldberg, I think, back at SummerSlam. In fact, there's video. There is video of the two of them passing each other in the hallway. Riddle has made no bones about the fact that he does not like Goldberg. He mocks Goldberg. He does Goldberg's moves during his match, the jackhammer and all that. And he just said, look, even growing up a fan when I was younger, I thought Goldberg was the shits. So Goldberg obviously got wind of this. And Riddle was trying to be respectful in the video and, hey, bro. And Goldberg was being very passive-aggressive and said, listen, I'm not your bro. But you can tell that he wanted to just smash this guy's face in. Now, maybe the Goldberg of 20 years ago would have been able to dismantle Matt Riddle. And there's a lot of people that don't like Matt Riddle. Some people think he's goofy and all that. But look at this objectively. Even if you personally don't like Matt Riddle, if you honestly believe that the Goldberg of today would mop the floor with Matt Riddle, you are fooling yourself. Matt Riddle would destroy this man. He would tie him up into a pretzel and embarrass him. The way that Chris Jericho did when he put Goldberg in a front face lock many years ago when they had their little snafu in the back. And that was Chris Jericho. What do you think Matt Riddle, with his, amateur wrestling training and MMA training, would do to Bill Goldberg? But the point is, Goldberg does not like Matt Riddle. Well, neither does Brock Lesnar, apparently. Because for years now, Riddle has talked in interviews about how he wants to be the guy. He's going to be the guy to retire Brock Lesnar. I've never heard him say that he hates Brock, that Brock sucks or anything. He just says, I am going to be the man to retire Brock Lesnar. And I guess Lesnar got wind of this, and he's sick and tired of hearing about it. And according to Pro Wrestling Sheet, Lesnar saw Riddle in the hallway. He went over to him, and he wanted to, and I quote, he wanted Riddle to know the reality of the situation between them. Whatever that means. So I don't know what was said, but apparently the people who were there said that it was a very tense situation, which probably doesn't bode very well for the chances of them working together, which is a shame, because that's still a match I'd like to see. Even if Riddle gets his ass handed to him, that's still a match I'd like to see. So Brock was number 1. Elias was out at number 2. And he insulted Lesnar on his way to the ring, which is a surefire way to die. And as soon as he started singing, Brock said, fuck this, and he ran out after him. He got him into the ring, he suplexed him, he smashed the guitar over his back, he dumped him out. Number 3 was Eric Rowan. And Lesnar clotheslined him out of the ring in 8 seconds. I was kind of disappointed that Lesnar didn't grab his cage with whatever little creature he's got hidden in that cage and chuck it into the 15th row. He didn't do that. Number 4 was Bobby Roode, F5. That was the end of Bobby Roode. And Brock is already out there sweating bullets. This guy, he's got sweat dripping. He looks like he's going to drop at any second. And out to the floor goes Roode. So that's 3 down so far. Number 5 was John Morrison. Morrison is immediately German suplexed out of the ring. Over the top rope, out of the ring. That was a scary sight. I cannot believe that they jobbed out Jomo like that. He just came back. He's wrestled on TV a couple times already. You know, he's largely been protected so far. And they had Lesnar just throw him out like a jabron. I mean, if he was in there 10 seconds, I'd be shocked. I couldn't believe that they dumped Morrison out like that. Number 6 was Kofi Kingston. People were totally behind Kofi here. Kofi got some offense in. He actually survived to the next entrant. He was the first person to survive into the next entrant, which is a victory in and of itself. Number 7 was Rey Mysterio, another man with a score to settle for his feud recently with Lesnar. Number 8 was Biggie. There's a match I'd like to see. Brock Lesnar against Biggie at some point. What do you guys think? Is that a match you'd like to see? So we had Biggie, Kofi, and Rey. They all gang up on Lesnar. Kofi hits the Trouble in Paradise. Biggie hits the big ending. Rey dials up the 619. And then Brock says, the hell with this. He fights back, knocks them all down. F5's Kofi right out of the ring. Number 9 was Cesaro. And when I heard Cesaro's music, and I saw him, and Brock was the only one left in the ring, and, you know, here comes Cesaro, I got very excited. If you've listened to my podcast for any number of years, and this is going back 6 or 7 years now, when I first started crowing about, we've got to get a match at some point between Brock Lesnar and Cesaro. It could be a throwaway title match on the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. Cesaro doesn't even have to win. Just give us the match. Cesaro is a freak of nature. Imagine the power stuff that he could do. He can be the one throwing Brock around. He could do things in there with Brock and throw him around the way that nobody else would be able to. And in the end, Brock would win. They've never given us the match. So here he comes, and I'm all excited. I'm like, finally, we're going to get to see some interaction between these two. And then he gets clotheslined out of the ring in 15 seconds. Fuck this company. Fuck this company. You could not even give me 2 minutes. That's all I wanted. 2 minutes. You couldn't give me 2 minutes of these two guys in the ring together doing power moves. That's all I asked for. And I couldn't even get that. Number 10 was Brock's former roommate and training partner from the University of Minnesota, a fellow Gopher, Shelton Benjamin. And Shelton hugs Paul Heyman. He gets in the ring. Lesnar is all smiles. They hug and they embrace in the middle of the ring. And they're going to partner up. They're going to buddy up for the next person who comes out. Only as soon as Shelton turns his back, he gets German suplexed by Lesnar, and out goes Shelton Benjamin. Number 11 was Schinsky Nakamura. And out comes Shinsuke, the Intercontinental Champion, the man that Brock Lesnar defeated to, I believe, retain his IWGP title in New Japan way back in 2006. This is before Nakamura was a star. They did wrestle before. The Intercontinental Champion lasted all of 10 seconds, you'll be happy to know. Number 12 was MVP. MVP, fresh off the Jericho cruise. Another one who I saw walking around and on the ship, on the Norwegian Pearl last week. Little did I know he would be here in the Royal Rumble match. And the best part of this entire thing, so they play MVP's music, catchy tune, and the cameras catch Brock Lesnar dancing. He's moving to the rhythm of MVP's music. For a moment there, we had a glimmer of Boombox Brock, only without the Money in the Bank briefcase. I love that. He had a big smile on his face. He's dancing to MVP's music. I thought this was fantastic. He chases... I don't know why MVP was chasing Paul Heyman around the ring. Heyman owed him money or something. You would think that MVP used to be on the ECW roster or something. He was chasing after Paul Heyman. And Brock drags him into the ring, hits the F5, and dumps him out of the ring. So that was the end of MVP. Number 13. Here's where things started to really pick up. Number 13 was Keith Lee, the new North American champion from NXT. People love them some Keith Lee. He got a huge reaction here. Shoulder tackle takes down Brock. Both men collide. They both go down. Number 14 was Braun Strowman. And he gets some offense in. Lesnar, though, he suplexes Strowman, suplexes Keith Lee. Lee and Strowman come face to face. Lesnar sneaks up behind them, dumps them both out of the ring. So at this point, Lesnar tied the Royal Rumble record with 13 eliminations. Now, who set that record? Was it Roman Reigns? I'm guessing it's probably Roman Reigns who set that record. I know Kane used to have the record. I want to say Kane had 11 and Roman had 12. Again, I could be off here. But I guess Brock now is tied with whoever has 13. Number 15 was Ricochet, who got kicked in the Dickochet by Lesnar on Monday Night Raw. Number 16 was Drew McIntyre. The Scottish psychopath Ricochet sneaks up behind Lesnar and delivers a low blow. And Drew fucking McIntyre clotheslines Brock Lesnar out to the floor to a monster pop and chants of "Thank you, Drew." Fantastic. Fantastic. That is how you make a star. It was never going to be Keith Lee because Keith Lee just won the North American title in NXT. Why would they have him eliminate Brock Lesnar? Why would they have him go to WrestleMania to wrestle Brock Lesnar? I've been saying it for weeks. The time is now for Drew McIntyre. Sink or swim. You either push the guy or you don't. Shit or get off the pot. And Brock, after all these years, still has not learned to wear a cup. So he's got nobody to blame but himself. But the way he sold this Claymore kick, the way, he sold that big bump out of the ring. I know people are going to shit on Lesnar. He was just dumping people out. He made half the roster look like a bunch of jabronis. I didn't like the way that what they did to Morrison here. I mean, he'll be fine, but it all built to this moment. I thought it was fantastic what they did here. And McIntyre grabs Ricochet and literally flings him out over the top. This was maybe the scariest elimination of the night. He flung Ricochet out over the top rope, almost into the front row. And then immediately turned his attention back to Brock, staring down Lesnar. Lesnar was still down, out on the floor. Number 17 was The Miz. McIntyre with a Claymore dumps him out. Lesnar outside now has stumbled back to his feet. Lesnar is vertical again. And he's getting chants of, "Na, na, 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 hey, 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 goodbye." People were very happy to see Brock leave this match. Number 18 was AJ Styles. Number 19 was Dolph Ziggler. Number 20 was Carl Anderson of the OC. And before I get to the big moment at number 21, let me show some love to some of the people I missed from earlier with the Super Chat. Sean Obey, $5 Super Chat. Thank you very much. Ben Boy AEW, Says Matt Riddle is killing his career. I don't know. I kind of like the fact that Matt Riddle is an outspoken guy. We don't see a whole lot of people like that these days. Everybody's afraid of their own shadow. Everyone walks on eggshells. They're afraid to speak out of turn. You don't have to like Matt Riddle, but I kind of like the fact that he speaks his mind. It may work to his disadvantage. He may be burying himself, but I kind of like that. Scott Keena, thank you for the $5 super chat. One of our folks in the Facebook group. NK, $6.50 super chat. The way Brock sold for Drew was brilliant. Says, I would rather see Drew versus Brock at WrestleMania rather than Brock against Matt. Well, I'd be fine with either one of those matches myself. Bro Memento, thank you for the super chat. Jonathan Hayes, thank you. And Mauricio Gonzalez says, Miz and Morrison should have switched spots. You know what? I agree with you on that. That's a great point. Why couldn't they have saved Morrison for the latter half of the Rumble? Why not have Miz go out there and get jobbed out in 10 seconds? Shane McMahon already did a good job of making him look like a fool last year. I don't know why they couldn't have just swapped. But let's get to number 21. The buzzer hits, and out at number 21, here in this Royal Rumble match, comes Edge. For the first time in 9 years in an official match. For the first time, I was going to say since WrestleMania 27, but he did wrestle a dark match. I think it was that Monday or Tuesday. So technically, WrestleMania 27 against Alberto Del Rio was not his final match. That was his final televised match. But for the first time in 9 years, Edge comes out. The rumors were true. You know, there have been rumors now that he was seen in Pittsburgh, and that's usually where people go to get their medicals for WWE. And, you know, the rumors that he had signed this new contract. Why would he sign this lucrative new contract? Why? Just to keep him away from AEW? It seemed like there was smoke to the fire and they were going to do something with him. And sure enough, there he is. Now, he looks older. You know, you look at him in the face and you can see he looks older. Look, it's been 9 years. But he is in tremendous shape. He's got the abs. Even Randy Orton even at one point was admiring him. He was looking at him going, hey, dude, look at you. You're ripped. You're more ripped than I am. But this was a Royal Rumble moment. People were marking out for Edge coming out. It was a great moment. And he looked like he had a tough time keeping it together coming out to the ring. He got pyro, his old pyro and everything. This was great. Spear to Dolph Ziggler. Thank you to Kevin Dunn and his crew. The cameras completely missed the first spear. So, good job. Spear to Carl Anderson. Spear to Drew McIntyre. Face to face for the very first time with AJ Styles. Hits a spear on AJ. Number 22 was King Corbin. Now, Edge eliminated AJ Styles. And it was very weird. I haven't checked any of the news sites yet to see if there was an injury here. It almost looked like AJ maybe was not supposed to hit the floor. He was not supposed to be eliminated, but he was. I could be totally wrong about that, but it just came off very awkward to me. And it feels like you would have expected AJ to be in there for a little bit longer. So I don't know if that's the case or not. Number 23 was the aforementioned Matt Riddle. Hot off of his very tense, I guess, backstage confrontation with Brock Lesnar. And very conveniently, Matt Riddle enters the Royal Rumble after Lesnar has already been eliminated. God damn it. We were so close. We were so close to that confrontation. So Riddle got some kicks in. He kicked the hell out of Drew McIntyre. And then Corbin just dumped him out of the ring. So he got a cup of coffee here in the Royal Rumble for Matt Riddle. Maybe, who knows, maybe he does have heat on him. I thought this was very disappointing. He had just enough time to kick off his flip-flops and not do much else. Number 24 was Luke Gallows of the OC. McIntyre eliminates King Corbin before Roman Reigns can even get into the Royal Rumble match, which hopefully is a sign that this feud truly is over once and for all. Please, God, let it be so. Let that be the end of it. Number 25 was Randy Orton. RKO to Gallows, RKO to Anderson. He locks eyes with his former Rated RKO partner Edge, and they dump the OC out. Now, if you remember, I have number 26 in our Royal Rumble pool on Facebook. And out comes number 26, and who is it? It's Roman Reigns. And boy, at this point, man, I'm liking my chances here. I can't say that I'm enthusiastic about Roman Reigns winning, even though I had predicted that he would. But number 26, I'm liking my chances at this point. Spear to Ziggler, bye-bye Dolph. Number 27 is Kevin Owens. 28 is Aleister Black. Black Mass lays out Drew McIntyre. Number 29 was Samoa Joe, which only meant one thing. Number 30 would be the Monday Night Messiah. Mr. Twitter fingers himself, Seth Rollins, the winner of last year's Royal Rumble, out with AOP and his new tag team championship partner, Buddy Murphy, by his side. Joe and Owens, they leave the ring under the bottom rope. They attack all four men outside. So back inside, Rollins hits a curb stomp to Roman Reigns. Aleister Black, off of a yank of the boot by Buddy Murphy, is eliminated by Seth Rollins. Owens hits a stunner to Rollins and dumps him out, but AOP catches Seth, puts him back in the ring. And when Owens goes after AOP, Rollins dumps him out from behind. So Seth Rollins eliminates Samoa Joe off of another distraction by Buddy Murphy. And we're down to Rollins, Reigns, McIntyre, Orton, and Edge. And Rollins now is surrounded. Superman punch, Claymore, out goes Seth Rollins. We got a double RKO by Edge and Orton to Drew McIntyre. And Orton teases an RKO. He's sneaking up behind Edge. Edge turns around and says, wait a minute. And Orton stops short. He says, hey, it's all good. Let's work together. And as soon as Orton turns his back, Edge dumps him out of the ring. So we're down to 3. Roman Reigns goes for a spear to Edge. Edge leapfrogs, hits the ropes, hits a spear of his own. That was, of course, it was his move before it was ever Roman Reigns' move. Hits the spear. He tries to dump Roman out. Reigns lands on the apron. He drags Edge out onto the apron with him. And he knocks Edge to the floor. And we're down to 2. We're down to Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre. And back inside, Roman hits a Superman punch, gets caught with a Claymore. And Drew McIntyre dumps out Roman Reigns to win the 2020 Men's Royal Rumble match and punches his ticket to WrestleMania. I was so close to winning my second Rumble pool, but it was not to be. And you know what? I'm okay with that because they did the right thing. I thought the right person won this Rumble match. I am very happy to see them finally make a move here and take a chance on somebody different in the main event. Drew McIntyre is hardly a new face. I mean, Drew McIntyre, his first run of the company was over a decade ago. And then he was, the jobber to the stars. He was part of 3-man band. He was wrestling Hornswoggle in WLC matches. And then he left. And he completely reinvented himself. He hit the indie scene. He went to go work for Impact and Evolve and, all these different promotions and companies all over the world. And WWE took notice and they re-signed him. And they didn't, put him in main events right away. He went to NXT first. He got hurt, but he was the NXT champion. Then he came to the main roster. It's been a long climb back up for Drew McIntyre. But they've been testing the waters with him as a babyface now the last few weeks. And the fans seem to be taking to him. Is he the most exciting personality they have on the roster? No. But we've been able to see some more of his personality over the last few weeks. And so you look at the guy and you say to yourself, this guy's built like a freaking brick shithouse here. I mean, how do they not put him in that position as trying to be the guy that goes for the championship? What are they waiting for? What are they waiting for? Well, tonight they pulled the trigger. And he won the Royal Rumble match, and now he's going to WrestleMania, and I'm sure he's going to challenge Brock. He should challenge Brock. I don't really have any interest in seeing him wrestle the Fiend. And I think he'll be the guy to go. And I mean, look, Rollins did it last year, but I think he should go to WrestleMania and beat Brock Lesnar. And take the championship back and put the championship back on a full-time guy and let him run with it and see how he does. See if he gets over even more as a babyface. Because guess what? If he doesn't, you know what you could do? You could always turn him back heel. But I think now is the time. They've waited long enough. I was very happy to see them do the right thing and not have Roman Reigns win and go the predictable way. And I thought overall this was an excellent Royal Rumble match. And for those of you who did join the Royal Rumble pool, by the way, in the Facebook group, rather, if you won your pool, we had like 80-something pools. It was like over 2,500 people. It was something ridiculous. Congratulations to all the winners. All of those names will be added up, and you'll go to the final ultimate Royal Rumble pool. I will be doing that live here on the YouTube channel after my AEW Dynamite review during my stream on Wednesday night. So that is when the final pool will be taking place. Now I'm very curious here for this next part. I want to see what these Twitter poll results look like. I want to see if I'm in the minority on this or not. I want to see what you guys thought of the show tonight. William Bonney, thank you for the $5 super chat. He says, I saw you on the cruise. I was doing DDPY. Thanks so much for giving me the time of day. It meant so much. I remember that, actually. I remember that. It was cool to meet you. I'm glad you said something. And BW Rojas, or Roses, I'm sorry, Roses. $2 super chat. Styles versus Edge, he says, at WrestleMania. That's what could be ahead. Maybe that has to do with, you know, AJ being eliminated. It just seemed premature. Maybe they are going to build to that. Edge against AJ Styles at WrestleMania. That could be an interesting match. I think my heart might skip a beat, though, if he tries to give him a Styles clash. You know, doesn't happen very often, but we've had people break their necks before on that move. I might want to stay away from that. But let's take a look at the Twitter poll results and take a look at what you guys think so far. Poll is open if you want to vote at Solomonster on Twitter. And so far, wow, we've already got over 3,000 votes. This poll's only been up for about, I don't know, maybe not even 90 minutes. 86% thumbs up, 13% thumbs down. A resoundingly positive score here for the 2020 Royal Rumble, so I guess we're all pretty much in agreement here. I know some people were not fans of the men's Rumble match, but that is a tremendously positive score for the show. Again, if you disagree or even if you agree, cast your vote at Solomonster is the handle. Somebody in the chat just said Edge versus Triple H. Don't put that evil on us. Why would you even say that? Why would you even try to will that into existence? Don't do that. Edge and AJ would be fine. I don't need to see Triple H against anybody. I'm already seeing rumors online that we could be getting Sting and The Undertaker at that Super Showdown next month. I don't know how true that is. I still don't buy it. I don't see them clearing Sting, but who knows? You know, what the Saudi Prince wants, the Saudi Prince gets. Maybe they can take NWO Sting. What's he up to? Where's NWA? Where's NWO Sting hanging out these days? Put some face paint on him, put a bat in his hand. I don't think the Saudis would be able to tell the difference. You can have him wrestle The Undertaker. Anyway. I kid NWO Sting. NWO Sting, I'm sure, is a fine gentleman. He's a fine individual. Got a lot of activity going on in the chat. We had at one point well over 3,000 people listening live, so I want to thank you all for that. And we're not done yet. I want to hear from you guys. Here you see the phone number on your screen. We'll take some calls. 989-282-SOLO. 7656 is the phone number. And thank you for all the Super Chats so far. This has been our biggest Super Chat night yet. So, again, every time we take calls and, you know, my account replenishes, and they steal 35 or 40 bucks out of my account, it helps to have that Super Chat money. But we got the lines all jammed up right now. And let's see who we'll go to first here. Let's go to, we have somebody from the state of Oregon. So let's go to area code 541. You're on the air.
Hi, yes. Am I on? I'm from Portland, actually.
Oh, Portland. You are on the air.
Yeah. I wanted to just bring up two quick topics. The first one, real quick one. AJ is absolutely hurt. He got hurt on the spear from Edge. He decided to do a flip, and I think he really hurt his shoulder on the flip from the spear. So I wouldn't hold your breath for a Mania match between them.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, is that something that you read that update somewhere, or just based on you watching it, you would be surprised to find out that he wasn't hurt?
Oh, I mean, I watched it. I'd be very surprised if he's hurt. I mean, there's no. I mean, when he flipped, he landed so awkwardly on his shoulder, and Edge landed on it, and he was over in the corner talking to the refs. He's hurt, and you could see the reaction on Carl Anderson's face and Edge when he went over the top rope and it was done.
Yeah, they look surprised.
I mean, yeah, he was hurt, man. So that's really unfortunate, but that's how it happens. But yeah, the second thing I wanted to talk about was I was watching Edge very closely, and I noticed he probably only did about 2 bumps, which I find a little worrisome. And one of the bumps, he actually was holding his neck when he was going down, which was really weird to me.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about Edge here, I assume, right? So,
Yeah.
Look, he hasn't wrestled in so long. I think that part of that is maybe him just, selling because everybody knows he went down with the neck injury. And part of it could just be stiffness. Look, the guy hasn't wrestled a match in 9 years. So I didn't see anything out of him. He was in there a long time. He was in there longer than I expected him to be. He looked pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And as long as he was in there for, I think he's okay. He may be feeling it in the morning. But I wonder, maybe they don't have any Mania plans, in place firmly for him. And maybe they just wanted to see how things went and how he feels. And if he feels good, then maybe they'll do more with him. I don't think he needs to wrestle full time or anything like that. It was cool.
I hope not.
Yeah. But it was cool to see him get that moment tonight. That reaction he got, was really special.
Yeah, that was really great. If you had the fantasy book, what match would you like to see at Mania?
Oh, with Edge, well, I mean, let's see. And thank you for the call. What WrestleMania match would I prefer? Well, I mean, look, Edge and AJ, I think, could be a good match. I think Edge and Daniel Bryan would be a tremendous match. In terms of working with somebody safe who could probably bring him to, a great match. You can't go wrong there. Edge and Randy Orton is another obvious one, right? He eliminated Orton. They have history together. They used to be tag team partners. So even Edge and Randy Orton, I think, that could be a fun little feud to rekindle there as well. So any of those could work. Let's go to New Jersey, area code 908.
Hello?
908, you're on the air.
Solomonster, what's up?
What's going on, man? What'd you think of the pay-per-view?
I thought it was okay. As far as the women's Rumble match, I think you could have replaced like a third of those women with people that had more talent, and it would have been a better match.
All right. Well, what'd you think of the men's Rumble match and Drew winning?
I thought it was kind of funny because everyone who was coming out when Lesnar was in there, I kept going, "Come on, kick him in the nuts, kick him in the nuts. You know it's gonna work."
Yeah. I mean, the guy never learns, unfortunately. Undertaker kicked him in the dick how many times, and he just never figured it out.
I was just waiting for someone to kick him in the nuts. I was just waiting for someone to kick him in the nuts because as soon as that happened, you figure not that much longer after that, he's going over the top.
And that's exactly what happened.
And I want to correct you on one thing real quick. When you first were talking about the Rumble and Lesnar getting taken out, you actually said that McIntyre took him out with a clothesline, not the Claymore.
Well, but did he knock him out of the ring with the clothesline, or was it? It might have been the Claymore. I might have.
No, he never gave him a clothesline. Ricochet kicked him in the nuts, and then McIntyre gave him the Claymore.
Okay, so it was the Claymore out of the ring. Yeah, I got my lines crossed there because Lesnar dumped so many people out of the ring with a clothesline. But yes, it was the Claymore, and I thought Brock took a great bump out of the ring on that move.
I honestly don't think that McIntyre's taking Wyatt. I think it's without a doubt with the way he kept turning back to stare a hole at Lesnar. That's got to be his choice.
Yeah, no, I mean, to me, there's no debate about this. It's got to be Brock Lesnar. There's no reason for him to challenge the Fiend, and if he does, it looks like he's scared. And why would he be scared? He's the man who dumped out Lesnar in the Royal Rumble. There's no reason for him to be scared. There's no reason for him to act like a bitch. Lesnar is the only choice. He's not going to challenge the Fiend. He's not going to challenge Adam Cole. All due respect to him. There's only one choice here. It's got to be Brock. Let's go to Pennsylvania. Area code 724. You're on the air.
Hey, Solomonster. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for calling.
Two things. Yeah, buddy. Two things. First off, I think Edge's match is actually going to be against Seth Rollins. First off, Edge is kind of the original architect, ultimate opportunist, similar gimmicks. And I think he even eliminated Rollins tonight, didn't he?
I believe, was it him that it might have been. I know he took a whole bunch of moves, including, I think, the maybe a spear and a claymore, but it might have been Edge who actually dumped him out of the ring. I don't remember.
But I also think that because I think Rollins curve stomped him into the briefcase like 4 or 5 years ago too. So there's that storyline a few years ago.
Yeah, I remember that. It was when he was threatening to. Are you thinking about the time when Cena was outside the ring and Edge had Rollins had Edge down? He was threatening to break his neck. Is that the angle I'm remembering?
Yeah.
Yeah. He kept saying John. Remember those are the days when Rollins would say John over and over again. John. God, how fucking annoying that was. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, that voice. Just seeing what you think about this idea. It seemed like there was more emphasis on eliminations in both Rumbles tonight than any previous year I can remember. What about having, like, I don't know, maybe the person with the most eliminations, come in last in Elimination Chamber the following month for the shot at Mania? Something like that, because I like it because it means the number one spot means something at that point, because the longer you're in, the more eliminations you get. What do you think?
I mean, they could do something like that. I just think you keep it simple. The winner gets the title shot at WrestleMania. I don't think you need to overcomplicate it. I'd be more of a fan of them if you think back to the brand supremacy stuff they did at Survivor Series. I don't know why there wasn't anything tangible on the line at Survivor Series. You have somebody like Shayna Baszler winning in the main event. Shayna Baszler came out in the Women's Rumble tonight at number 30. How hard would it have been for them to say that in her match in the main event at Survivor Series, right, that Shayna Baszler, if she were to, let's say Shayna Baszler were to win, right? Because I guess in a way it wouldn't make sense if you have the champions, because the champions typically are not in the Rumble. But you could have had some kind of stipulation where Shayna Baszler can beat these two main roster champions. She gets a spot in the Women's Rumble, and she gets to enter at number 30, which she did anyway. It would not have been hard to do something like that. I'd rather they have something on the line there instead of just bragging rights. Or maybe a draft pick. How about that? They could have done that. Anyway, let's go to the West Coast here. Area code 213. You're on the air.
Good evening, Solomonster. This is Luis from Los Angeles.
Oh, boy.
How you doing, bud?
Oh, I'm good, Luis. It's good to hear your voice.
Well, it's great to hear your voice. How was the trip?
Well, if you want to hear all about it, I spent 35 minutes talking about the Jericho cruise on today's podcast, episode 636. So when you're done listening to the live stream, you can go check out that podcast. I talked all about it there.
I sure will. And it's great to see Edge back.
Yes, it is. Any other thoughts on the men's Rumble match before we move along here?
Look, let me tell you this, and hopefully, and this is what actually happened. My mom was in the kitchen when Brock Lesnar started the snooze fest, the first half of the Rumble match. And I said, oh, my God, here starts the snooze fest.
Well, look, I mean, but it all built to that moment with Drew. So in the end, it was all worth it. He had to dump a whole bunch of people out and get people pissed off before Drew kicked him out of the ring.
Yeah. And I was happy that Drew eliminated him. So that made it the more special, especially Edge's return, even though we don't know if he is going to have a match at WrestleMania.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know yet. I'm going to let you go, Luis. It was good to hear you. I haven't talked to you in a while. Everybody in the Facebook group knows Luis, and I didn't expect him to call in, but there it is. But yeah, no, it was good. It was good. I enjoyed it. Again, I know some people thought the Rumble was boring. They didn't like Brock steamrolling everybody in the first half. I didn't like where it was headed either. But they did the right thing, and I can't hate on them for that. Let's take a few more here. here on this, I was going to say Sunday night. It's Monday morning, everybody. At least here in this country it is. Maybe on the West Coast it's not. All you West Coasters, it's still Sunday night. Let's take a few more calls here. Let's go to area code 812. You're on the air.
Hey, Solomonster, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So the point that I was calling in about, I know you said you had Roman Reigns in the Royal Rumble pot. So when he comes to make his entrance, I hear Michael Cole on commentary bring up how like number 26 hasn't won the Rumble or hasn't produced many winners, and it made me think of comments you made in the past how commentary, like when there's a championship match, Corey Graves will remark when the champion's being pinned, oh, we've got a new champion, and then we don't have a new champion.
Right.
So for me, that I thought, oh, Roman's winning because Cole made that little comment. Did you catch that, or did that ring true to you, or?
Yeah, you know what bothers me even more, though? It's when they telegraph certain things, like, during a championship match, and they'll say so-and-so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that to me, I agree in that way. I don't like it when they do stuff like that. I mean, that to me is the ultimate annoyance when it comes to commentary in WWE.
That's the point that I was trying to make, is that I was like, well, they've just spoiled that Roman's going to win because Cole threw that little comment out.
See, that I didn't think, though. I actually thought, if anything, that was kind of a signal that he was going to win, because it's not like they came out and said, well, he got this late number, so who's going to beat Roman? Roman's got this in the bag. If they would have said something like that, I would have been like, all right, they're laying it on a little too thick. That I just thought was just one of those weird statistics that they love to throw out, and I actually looked at it differently. I thought that was a sign that he was going to win for sure.
Yeah. That's what I was trying to say. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But anything else before we move along?
No, thanks for the call.
Thank you. Let's take a couple more. Let's go. We've got a lot of people here. I hate to, you got people waiting for a long time here. So let's do this. Let's go to 276, area code 276. You're on the air.
Hi, Paul Monsters. Long-time listener, first-time caller. My name's Bryan.
Hey, Bryan.
What I'd like to say, first thing, you was talking about NWO Sting. He had a long career in Japan after he left WCW, and really had a great career, from what Bruce Prichard had said on his program.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me. It kind of reminds me in a way of the fake Razor Ramon, who I think, what was his name? Big Titan, I think. Rick Bogner. He had a pretty good career also elsewhere before he did the phony Razor gimmick in WWE. So yeah, I knew NWO Sting. I think his name is Steve Farmer. I think might be his real name. I know he had a career elsewhere. I truly don't know what he's doing today. I assume he's retired. Maybe he's doing indies. I don't know. Maybe he's been doing WrestleCon and some of these conventions. But again, just an idea. If they're dead set on having Sting, I don't think that the royal family will really know the difference. And you just kind of send him out there.
Yeah.
Put paint on his face, and you can get a match out of him if you want to.
Yeah, they said that Sting wasn't really big about going over to Japan, kind of like Hogan wasn't, so he went over for him. So, But on to the Rumble. I thought that it was a really great Rumble with the second half, but I was thinking about the '92 Rumble, which is your favorite as well, and I was thinking about how the drama in '92, how it went all the way through with Flair, and how all these Rumbles in the past have always been, dramatic, somebody lasting through, and it really, bothered me how Brock, I know a lot of people have said this, but, how Brock had went through all, 15 or so competitors before, being dumped out, and I thought that kind of ruined the first half.
Yeah, I mean, look, there were some guys who I thought deserved to be in, and it could have been a little more fun if they were a little more competitive, but that's not the story they were telling. They wanted total dominance. They wanted Brock in there smiling and laughing and dancing to MVP's music and getting cocky. And so that was the story that they were telling. Look, Kofi, at least Kofi lasted a while. I was a little worried they might dump him out in 10 seconds, and he got some time in there, but again, that just wasn't the story that they were looking to tell. James Hollins, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. He said, if you had to fight Brock or the Fiend, who is the safer choice? Well, I would say the Fiend. You know, I could outrun the Fiend. I guarantee you the Fiend can't keep up with me. I would just run laps around the ring and tire him out. Brock, look, Brock tires out pretty quick too, but Brock is scary fast. Brock is deceptively quick for a guy his size. I would not want to be in a foot race against Brock Lesnar. And KC DeMost with the $10 super chat said, I wish Hogan was calling that strap match with Bray and Bryan. It would have been worth it to hear him say, Yappa Pie, Indian strap match. Ah, yes, the famed Yappa Pie, which sounds an awful lot like apple pie. So every time I hear that said, it sounds to me like he's saying apple pie strap match, which makes it even funnier. So yes, I agree. We should have had Hulk Hogan on commentary tonight. Let's go to... how many brothers and dudes and jacks would we have gotten on commentary from the Hulkster? Let's go to... I believe it's the state of Texas, if I'm not mistaken. Area code 956. You're on the air.
Hey, Solomonster. How you doing today?
Good. Who am I talking to?
Christian.
Hey, Christian. What's going on?
Hey, I'm doing good. It's getting late here, so I'm going to talk about the Rumble, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Yeah. I thought the women's Royal Rumble was pretty good, but like you said on your pod, on the live stream, I hate Santina then, and I still hate her now. So, I hate, you know.
I agree.
And,
I just think,
yeah.
I agree. I just think it was a silly. I know they like doing those comedy spots, but you know, they probably. I'm trying to think who else, if they wanted to do like a comedy spot, what other like past face or legend could they?
Tori Wilson.
Who?
Tori Wilson. Why not her? Put her.
What do you mean?
Why not put Tori Wilson in? Like one.
Well, I mean,
but
Tori was in the one last year. Tori wouldn't be. I'm saying if they wanted to do comedy though, you wouldn't put Tori in there. So if they wanted to do a funny thing, you know what I guess they could have done? Honestly, they could have had R-Truth come out. They could have had R-Truth come out and pretend like, hey, wait, I thought this was the men's Rumble, and then it turns out it's the women's Rumble, and they all gang up on him and dump him out or something. To me, that would have been at least a little more tolerable than this Santina nonsense.
Yeah, I would have been fine with that too. I want to talk about the men's Royal Rumble.
Sure.
Before I let you go. And I was really, really happy that Drew McIntyre won. And I was also nervous for Edge because, you know, he's got that, you know, scoliosis, I think it's called, right? Scoliosis?
I don't know. No, I don't know if he has scoliosis. I think Paige has scoliosis. I think Edge has the spinal stenosis is what you're thinking of.
Yeah, spinal stenosis. Thank you. Yeah, I was kind of worried. Like, you guys, be careful with him. He's kind of fragile. I know he's in good shape, but, you know, one more thumb to his neck, and he could end up in a wheelchair, and his acting career could be right down the toilet.
That's right. Well, you know who else has spinal stenosis? You know who else has spinal stenosis and just came back? Sheamus.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he's on borrowed time. Wow. He's on borrowed time himself. Anything else before we got a whole bunch of calls here. I want to take a few more, but anything else before I let you go?
No, that's it. Thank you for taking my call.
Awesome. Thank you for calling. Let's move things along here. Try to get as many people in as I can. We've got we got another one, I think, here from the great state of Texas, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sure he'll tell me if I'm wrong, though. Area code 469. You're on the air.
Hello, am I coming in okay?
You're coming in just fine.
All right, good. I did not want to miss my chance to call the Orange Cassidy hotline.
This is the Orange Cassidy hotline. Normally, I don't speak. Normally, I just put my thumb halfway up. But I figured tonight, it's the Royal Rumble, so I would make an exception.
All right, so just a couple of things before I get to my question. Number one, I am just so happy that McIntyre actually won the Royal Rumble.
So am I. No one is happier than me because it could have gone very wrong, very badly, and they made the right choice.
Trust me, after the Women's Rumble, it could have gone so much worse. But other than that, I didn't mind the gimmick unlike a lot of others, but it's just good to see a Fiend match without having to look through a virtual boy.
Yeah. Yes, it was a lot more tolerable to watch. Just to watch the match was a lot better than it has been in the past.
All right, so now for my actual question. Because Charlotte won the Royal Rumble, I'm wondering if Becky versus Charlotte is the women's equivalent of Cena versus Orton.
Well, I would say they have probably about 15 more matches to get to the level that we were at with Cena and Orton. I wouldn't go that far, but they're getting there. It's getting very close. I don't know. I just don't have any interest in seeing it. Maybe it would be a great match. They've had great matches before. I remember the match they had at Evolution. I don't remember the stipulation. I think it had some kind of a... what was the stipulation? I know it had a stipulation. Maybe it was a tables match or something, but that was an excellent match. It's not like they can't have very enjoyable matches. I just don't have any interest in seeing Charlotte against Becky again. They've got to do something else. Ronda I could tolerate, even though we got it last year, because we never got the singles match. So Ronda didn't come back. I guess that's not happening. I could tolerate. Charlotte and Becky, though, they've got to have something else up their sleeve here. And preferably not a multi-woman match. Because I still prefer one-on-one when it comes to these WrestleMania main event matches, although I don't know that the women are going to headline again. But hopefully they have a good singles match in mind that isn't just Charlotte against Becky, because to me that's just passé. Let's go to Alabama, area code 256. You're on the air.
Oh, hello. So I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller.
Oh, thank you.
And I wanted to talk about what?
Well, let me ask you this: what's your name, so I know who I'm talking to?
It's Brandy.
Hey, Brandy. Thank you for calling.
Yeah. Okay. So we've had Charlotte win the Rumble, which it was going to happen eventually because it's Charlotte Flair. And everyone seems to think that she and Becky are a foregone conclusion, and maybe Sasha and Bayley for the SmackDown title. But it's something that I've noticed that, like, over the past, I think these women came up on the main roster, or at least the three of them did, 2014, and they have consistently, some configuration of them, been in the matches for the women at WrestleMania. Like, there's not a lot of... And Nia Jax had a spot with WrestleMania stuff, but they've really been the highlight of the women's division. And it's getting very frustrating because it's kind of coming across that this company doesn't have a lot of trust in their women. Like last year, everybody wanted Ronda and Becky, and that's all they wanted. And they injected Charlotte in there for no reason really, other than to prop up the match. It didn't necessarily need that, even though Becky sometimes is quite hit or miss. There was such enough interest in it that it could stand on its own. So other than Charlotte Flair, who would you like to have seen win the Rumble and have a chance?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, we had a lot of NXT representation in the Rumble this year. And I've been a big advocate for the NXT women's division. I just think they're chock full of talent right now. And you could take any number of the women that were in that match tonight and put them on Raw, put them on SmackDown. They'd fit right in. Bianca Belair is a great example of it. I think it's only a matter of a few months before we see her on Mondays or Fridays. So if they would have had Bianca just go and win the whole thing, I would have been fine with that. But I knew that wasn't going to happen because she's wrestling for the NXT women's title next month. But if it were up to me, let her go all the way. Let her go all the way and let her challenge Becky, let's say, at WrestleMania. I'm trying to think of who else from that NXT roster they had in the match tonight. Rhea wasn't in there. I'm a big fan of hers. Toni Storm was in there. They have to build her up a little bit more. But Bianca, if they would have had her go all the way, I wouldn't have argued it. I would think that would have been fine. When I look at the main roster, here's my problem. outside of Becky, Asuka lost tonight, so you take her out of the equation. Kairi, they're not going to send Kairi to WrestleMania. It's just not realistic. I come back to Sasha, who wasn't even in the match. They've done a very poor job, I think, of building up, like you said, building up these other women. I look at them and I go, I don't really want to see any of them go to WrestleMania to challenge Becky for the championship. Can you get excited? Can you get excited about Natalya, honestly, at this point?
No. No, I don't think many people can. And the thing is like, I noticed that in their playing field, they're lacking a really compelling storyline. And so I guess they're falling back on that safety of, these are our established women. They have built-in history together. Let's work with that. But honestly, I personally think if you were going to go with Charlotte Flair, having Asuka go over on Becky would have been the more interesting thing, because Becky is the one who dethroned Charlotte. Becky can't beat Asuka. Charlotte has beaten Asuka before, so then it becomes Charlotte, Flair Asuka 3 at WrestleMania kind of. And it at least has a grudge factor to it. The stuff that we're going into now with the possibilities we can foresee for now, unless they actually do something creative. There's nothing wow about it. It may be an interesting match to see, but it's not anything that, as far as the lore of WWE's women's division, it's not going to be something that you're like, oh, that's, this big, important moment.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's a great point. And just to go back to what you were saying, Bianca would have been fine, but who would I have gone with? I would have gone with Shayna. And that's what I thought they were going to do. Shayna came out at 30, and they put her over like $1 million at Survivor Series. I thought it was the obvious choice. She dropped the NXT title a month ago. That clears her to go to Raw or SmackDown if they want to put her on the show. There's a story there. That story interests me. The fact that her best friend got beaten, and maybe they felt it was unfair the way it happened last year at WrestleMania. So, part of her story is, hey, I'm here to kind of get revenge for what happened to Ronda Rousey. And that, to me, is kind of an interesting story, because it ties back into the big feud from last year. So if it were me, that's who I would have had win the Royal Rumble match. I would have had Shayna Baszler go over.
Yeah. It has an emotional attachment to it, which is something that's missing in WWE writing a lot, is the emotional attachment to the story.
Oh, yes. Well, I think we're in agreement on that, so I don't think you're going to get a lot of disagreement out of me on that. Anything else from tonight's show that was of interest to you?
Yes, Brock Lesnar. He had me cracking up the entire time. A lot of people were very frustrated at the beginning, but I really enjoyed the sparks of personality we got off Brock in the first part of it, especially how at first it was just like laughing and throwing people, the funny stuff with Shelton and everything like that. But I love the subtle change in his face when Keith Lee came out. It made Keith Lee, obviously Keith Lee is a monster and everyone knows, like, this is a powerful man, but having that validation from Brock in just that little facial expression that he changed in the ring when he was coming down, I really appreciated that. So I thought the first part with Brock, a lot of people were bored with it, but I thought that if you watched his mannerisms, there was storytelling in it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And he did the same thing with Cain Velasquez. When Velasquez showed up on that first SmackDown on Fox, it was the night that Brock beat Kofi. And then out comes Velasquez, and they zoomed in on Brock's face, and he just had this shocked look, and he looked over at Paul Heyman like, what the hell's this? And he did the same thing tonight when Keith Lee came out. He looked at him and was like, who's this big bastard? And he got in the ring. And see, again, I don't think people give Brock enough credit, because what we saw tonight from him with what you just said, with the different facial expressions, or, dancing to MVP's music, or whatever, all the different things that he was doing, he showed more charisma in that first half of the Rumble, just through his facial expressions and his mannerisms, than a lot of other people would show on that roster. And because people are just bored by the fact that he eliminated people in 5 seconds or 10 seconds, they're not going to give him credit for it, because they just don't like the guy. But that was a genuine charisma. He's got his own kind of special charisma, and he can sell and put somebody over just with one facial expression. I think that's a great point.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that is really all from me. So
terrific. Well, hopefully you'll call in on more streams in the future. Those were good questions. I like those questions.
Okay.
Excellent. Well, thank you for the call. I appreciate it. That was a great call. A lot of great points there that Brandy made, and Actually, I think Brandy is probably a good, well, I was going to end on that note, but I see here we have, I feel bad. We have Rhode Island who's been waiting for 23 minutes. All right, let's go to Rhode Island. Take a few more. Why not? Let's go to area code 401. You're on the air.
Hello, Solomonster.
That's
Am
me.
I coming through clear?
You're coming through okay.
Hello, my name's Lee. I've been listening to you since last summer, and I'm glad to be talking to you.
Well, I'm glad you called in tonight.
Well, I just want to touch on three things because I know you're a busy man. You got things to do. One thing I want to get to first is the Andrade versus Alberto Carrillo match. I didn't see it, but personally, I want to speak on Alberto Carrillo and say that if WWE wants to eventually make him the United States champion, I personally don't see any downside to that because I remember watching mid-2000s Raw and SmackDown and seeing that United States title on guys like John Cena, Carlito, and guys like that, and saying like, hey, this guy could possibly be a future star someday, but we won't know unless he has the title. Like, I'm all for building up the mid-card division because the mid-card division on Raw and SmackDown, I feel personally, has been a little flat.
Yeah, it has been. Honestly, though, you know, Carrillo lost tonight. I don't see him winning the championship. And I don't really have any interest in seeing him carry the championship. I think he's a talented guy. I think he could, you know, maybe one day he'll be something more than what he is. But, you know, the title is on the right person right now. And I think we've seen enough with him and Carrillo. They can move on from this. You know, Carrillo lost fair and square tonight. I can appreciate them trying to give a young guy a push. That's fine, but I don't know. United States champion Humberto Carrillo, that doesn't do much for me. I think it's you got to keep that title on Andrade for a while. And look, Rey Mysterio was doing an interview last week and saying that he would love to stretch things out a little bit longer. And maybe they can get to WrestleMania and he and Andrade could do mask versus hair. So, you know, in the chat, what do you guys think? Would you want to see a mask versus hair match? I worry about that because bald Andrade doesn't... I don't know if that's such... I don't think Charlotte would like that, but maybe Rey loses his mask. You know, maybe Rey really is winding down, and maybe the way that Rey goes out is in a big WrestleMania match, and he loses his mask. You know, maybe that isn't such a bad idea. It's not like we haven't seen him unmasked before anyway.
I mean, I totally agree with you on the Andrade part. Build up Andrade. As long as somebody comes up on the brighter side of things, that's all that matters to me. And the next thing I want to move on to is the Raw Women's Championship match, Becky Lynch versus Asuka. The last real person I really see Becky Lynch like going after and beating because at this point, Becky Lynch has beaten everybody she has to beat in order to establish herself as a man. Of course, there was WrestleMania, winning the Royal Rumble last year. But since then, she's been on a tear. She's gone great. But I feel like at this point, there's really nobody else to beat on Raw because, you know, no one's really been built up enough to beat her. The only thing they've done is the Asuka thing, and that's been stretched out for an entire year. And I don't know. I don't think there's anybody else at this point that can beat Becky Lynch. But now that Charlotte's won the Royal Rumble, I'm kind of throwing my hands up in the air and saying that, again, I'm not feeling it.
Yeah, and you're not the only one. I mean, again, it's exactly, and thank you for the call, it's exactly what I said before. You know, it should have been Shayna. And maybe they could still get there. We'll see tomorrow night on Raw. Maybe, I'm not convinced that we haven't seen the last of Shayna here. If they have a good story in mind, then I'll happily eat my words. But after what I saw tonight, I thought that finish sucked. I thought they went with the wrong person. You know, you want somebody different and interesting? Shayna. What else is Shayna going to do? What are they going to do with Shayna? She's done with Rhea. She's pretty much done everything she can do in NXT. You know, Bayley's a heel on SmackDown. You're going to do heel versus heel? That doesn't sound very appealing. Becky is the only choice that makes sense for Shayna Baszler. Shayna's not getting any younger. So some people don't realize Shayna, I think, is almost 40 years old. It's pretty incredible that they're pushing her the way they are. I guarantee you 10 years ago, they would not be pushing a woman who was pushing 40 years old. You wouldn't necessarily know it, you know, with Shayna out there. I think she's great at what she does. What are you waiting for? Now is the time. Let's go. Come on. You know, chop chop. There's nobody else on the Raw brand that is appealing in the least as an opponent for Becky Lynch. And we'll go to Pensacola, the hometown of Roman Reigns. Area code 850. You're on the air.
Hey, Solomonster. This is Christopher. My question for you is this. With the Women's Royal Rumble, so they never distinctly established whether the person wins the Rumble could either challenge for Raw, SmackDown, or the NXT Championship, right? Because I would think NXT is the third brand now. It's on the USA Network. They have NXT stars' involvement. What if Charlotte did a wild chase and went after Ripley for the NXT Women's Championship instead? That would be something different for her to do, and they could have that match at WrestleMania, because we've had an NXT title match before at the Survivor Series, so why not do one at WrestleMania?
And look, I'm not opposed to doing an NXT Championship match at WrestleMania, but I don't know, the idea of Charlotte and Rhea, I worry about that. Do you really see Charlotte losing to Rhea Ripley? I don't. I don't think that's something that Rhea needs right now. I mean, it would be a huge match for her, but take your time. You know, you just put the championship on her. She's still... Look, Rhea, I think Rhea's very good, but she's very young, and she's got a lot to learn. Don't rush this. They make that mistake sometimes. They rush people. You know, and you can ruin them. Take your time with her. There's no need to rush. It would be different. It would be a swerve, yeah, but I don't like that idea. It bothers me. I don't see that ending well for Rhea Ripley. And I don't know. The winner of the Royal Rumble, I just feel like should not be challenging for the NXT Championship. It has not been established as something that is worthy, I think, of the Royal Rumble winner, you know, chasing after it at WrestleMania. They haven't done a good enough job yet of establishing why somebody would do that. Unless they're afraid. Are they afraid of Brock? Are they afraid of the Fiend? I don't know. I'm not sold on that idea. It would be different for sure, but I'm not entirely sold on that idea. Let's check the Twitter poll results, see where we're at now. We are over 3,400 votes. 86% up, 13% down. So again, overwhelmingly positive response to the pay-per-view tonight. Thank you to Atenchi Fan for the $1.99 super chat. It says, who would you like to see the Fiend face at WrestleMania? You know, I'm not sure. The person I probably would put him in there with isn't even on SmackDown. That probably would be Aleister Black. One dark character deserves another. But I'm not sure how you get there since Black's on Raw and The Fiend is on SmackDown. And the Cheeseburger, 666 with the $2 super chat. Did Solomonster versus Orange Cassidy happen? Well, why would I fight myself? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Makes you wonder. Thank you, guys. This stream's been a lot of fun. We had a lot of super chats, a lot of good comments, a lot of good calls. We had Brandy call in for the first time. That was fun. So I will be back here live with you again on Wednesday for the AEW Dynamite review, and we're going to pick the third, second, and first place winners in the Ultimate Royal Rumble pool. So all the winners from all the pools tonight from the Facebook group will be dumped into one final pool, from whence I shall choose the top 3 winners. And as long as everything works out, I have this wheel. This interactive wheel that I can spin here, live on YouTube. So all you guys can tune in live as I pick the winners. That'll be after the AEW review is done. So that'll be this Wednesday coming up. And there's a new episode of the podcast up. It dropped earlier today, 636, including the whole recap of the Jericho Cruise and Jon Moxley's karaoke. I'm going to get that clip up here on the YouTube channel probably tomorrow. So that'll be something to watch for. Hit the thumbs up on this video if you have not already done so. That always helps. And hit the sub button if you are not subscribed. So that way when these streams go live, you get an email notification on your phone, your inbox, letting you know that we are live with a link so you can come join the fun. So thank you all. Be well. Stay safe. As we see the dancing blue shark. Red Adams, thank you for the subscription. I appreciate it. And I will be back here again live on Wednesday night. Until then, take care, guys.